Well, good morning. Got something I wanted to share. I know you can't really see my face, but I hope you can hear what I'm saying. Been praying and seeking God, just enjoying His presence. And I began to think about something. God put something inside of me and put a deposit inside of me. And been a member of church all my life. Up until just real recently, there's been a major change in my thinking, my attitude, the way I present myself to God, the way I hear things. And not really the way I hear things, but just the way I present myself to God. And so I was thinking about when Jesus went to Simon Peter, and he basically called him into the ministry. And that moment when Jesus did that, Jesus walked to Simon Peter and basically got in the boat. Now, see, in Luke 5, it talks about how they were washing their nets. Jesus just hopped in. Hey, I'm here. Let's go for a ride, Simon. And they think, because see, Peter, Jew, yeah, he's work. You know, he's at work. He's still thinking, you know, of the days, the work day ahead of him. And he's like, we've been out here all night. And he said, so let's go out and fish. Basically, what he basically told him, let's just go fish. And Simon Peter basically said, we worked all night. We had worked all night, and we caught nothing. And Jesus said, cast your net into the deep. Peter looked at him probably going, man, I just told you we've been here all night. We caught nothing. And Jesus just, okay. So probably could have been a little frustrated. He could have just went ahead and alright, throw him down deep. Now, apparently he wasn't that far offshore, or he wasn't that far away, because not far away, he could at least signal, hand signals, or yell or scream or something, smoke signal or flare or something. I don't know, I'm just being a little facetious here. But just roll with me for a couple minutes. And he threw his nets over. And what happened? Well, immediately, he caught such a load that he could not contain. He could not contain what he had. Matter of fact, he had so much, his nets were breaking. They were breaking. Can you imagine being down there and hearing that snap, snap, snap of a fish net? You're a fisherman. That's not a sign that you want to hear. Those are things. And he signaled to his friends, come help, come help. It began sinking. I mean, the load was so big, he began sinking. And God began to show me some things about this scripture, a few things. A lot of things I ain't never seen before, things that I've heard. I'm like, well, you know, those are good. Those are really good. I'm not just saying that but I thought, and he could show me things, and I thought, this is beautiful. And I wanted to share those things that I've got. And so the one thing I got was, it was when Jesus spoke with his mouth. The Holy Ghost, when Jesus spoke, cast your net to the deep. At that moment, it wasn't that that Peter had to throw the nets down, it was at the moment that Jesus spoke that the fish were immediately, the blessing was immediately deposited right there below Peter. Okay? We got to know when to dig. We got to know when to go deep. So after he went deep, after he did what Jesus told him to do, listen to the Father, listen to the teacher, the master. He said he taught him. Okay? He taught him. To go down deep. Now, he went down deep, and immediately he caught a load. Basically, what it's saying is his first cast out there, he caught something. And he pulled it up and he signaled to his other friends, "Come, we need help. I've got such a load that I can't contain everything." So there was at least 3 people on the boat. It was Simon and Andrew and Jesus. Okay? And James and John. They were in another boat. They were partners, basically. They were partners. They had a partnership. And after all this, Jesus went and told them. And so I began to think about this. God began to show me some things about this. Do you realize that it was the load that they had on him? There was a grace upon him. Such grace that he was sinking. It was going to make them sink. See, the thing that I also feel like God showed me is that it never said that they sank. It just said it brought them to the point of sinking. It began to sink. So we have to begin in our lives, and I'm going to kind of translate this into our lives. We have to begin sinking into what God tells us to do. Once we do what God tells us to do, we begin to sink by the grace of God. The grace of God is going to be there. The blessings of God will be there. Okay? There'll be a blessing. There'll be a grace there. And let me tell you, you got to kind of wonder what was Simon thinking. You know, he had to thinking this guy's crazy, but he's a great fisherman. So the grace of God was present to bless. I mean, Jesus was the grace of God, right? Jesus is grace. He was the Word. He was grace. He was everything that you ever needed. Think about that. I think I said that one time. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. The grace of God was literally physically in front of Peter to do whatever Peter needed to be done. You ever think about that? It was there that Peter could have done whatever he needed to have done. So they get to the boat, and in one translation it even says, or in one book it even says, "Get away from me, I'm a sinful man." And Jesus like, hold on a second, wait. No, I get that, but my grace is going to cover you, so just follow me, because Jesus hadn't yet. They were unsaved. They were Jews. They were unsaved Jews. Imagine that. They were unsaved because Jesus hadn't died yet. It was going to be another 3 years before Jesus died. So They had a long time to learn about what Jesus was going to do. So first off, so the thing we want to walk away with is that the grace was already there. See, one thing else you got to remember. Remember what Simon told Jesus? He was trying to do something by his works. Jesus said, just do what I tell you to do. But we've done this, we've worked this, we know what we're doing in the natural, in the physical. We know our careers. We know how to make our careers do what we need. We are professional fishermen. We know how to do this. Jesus is like, I get that, I respect that, but just listen to me. I understand. But when you tag team with me, there's going to be a grace of God on what you do. Simon's like, okay, that's cool. We'll do it. But I mean, we've worked all night. I mean, it even in Luke 5, it said we have worked all night. And remember, and then later it says it's not by works, but it's not by works alone, but by faith. So at some point, Simon, look at this. Simon had a measure of faith deposited on the inside of him at some point. Okay. And as they went, and he realized that what he was talking about was right. So anyways, I just thought that was really good how they said that we work all night, and Jesus said, but it doesn't matter what you've done. Your works is filthy rags. Just do what I tell you to do. Basically what he was saying. Just do what I told you to do. And they did. They did exactly what Jesus said. There was a certain amount of grace and a certain amount of faith that was already deposited. And the supernatural showed up. Now think about that. The supernatural showed up at that moment. And his first cast out, when Simon Peter first cast out, okay, I'm going to go somewhere with this. He first cast out there, the supernatural showed up immediately. Immediately showed up. And the blessings of God showed up with him. Do you think that the fish were just, oh, okay, we're waiting. We're not going to go this one. It was Jesus spoke to them, gave them a command, commissioned them, cast your nets on the other. Read it for yourself. Luke, this is not out of context. Read the book. Luke 5 is where it talks about this. I'm not taking anything out of context. Read it. This is what the Holy Spirit told me. And at the time Jesus spoke the word, it was Jesus. It was the breath of God that came and said, "Cast your nets on the other side." At that moment, the faith was deposited in Peter to do it, or into Simon. I'm sorry, into Simon with Simon Peter. And I think I can get away with saying either one of them. Y'all know what I'm saying. But at that moment, it was the faith deposited in Simon Peter, and it was just like kind of. I was like, I'm thinking like a robot, like whatever you say, Master. And immediately, boom, it was done. It was immediately just done. The faith was there, showed up. It said, but you remember later in, and I don't know which chapter and verse, but it talks about it's not by works alone, but by faith. You have to have faith with works. Faith. You can't do it by works alone, but you got to have faith. Faith without works is dead. That's what I'm trying to get at. Faith without works is dead. And so that was the thing. And so they're under an old covenant thing. They're still, in that point in time, they are still living in the old covenant. They are still living by the Mosaic covenant and the David covenant, Elijah covenant. They're still living under that covenant. Jesus has not fulfilled the covenant yet. Oh, and see, that's the thing that blew my mind up to a few years ago. I'm thinking, Jesus, Matthew, Mark, that's the new. Oh, well, wait, they're still at this point, they're still sacrificing animals at the temple. They're still sacrificing. Okay? They don't have to do that anymore. And after Jesus died, they didn't have to do that. But up to this point, they still had to sacrifice. But look about this. And so I want to take you into a prophetic look at this. Okay, when Simon did exactly what Jesus told him to do, after Jesus commissioned him, spoke to him, and told him what to do, Simon did exactly what Jesus told him to do. His first day out, he caught such a mess of fish. And what did he remember when Jesus told him? I'm going to make you a fisher of men. He caught such a mess of fish because now he's a fisher of men. Do you remember when the church first exploded in Acts? Peter was there. It was Peter that was there. And they were out of the church on the Acts 2, I believe it was. I have to go back and read back and look through it again. Because there's so many messages and there's so many scriptures in my head that sometimes they all kind of get intermingled. I'm going to do that. They all get intermingled, and you're kind of like, I know it's in there. I know it's in this book, but I'm not for sure where it's at. God told me about that. So let me take things. God said, he said, Jeff, as long as you understand that that's in the book, you're good. He said, you can say it. It's in there. It's in there. I know it's in there. God said, yeah, it's in there. You're good. You don't have to. Some scholars or some people say, well, if you don't know chapter and verse, then that unholy. That's not what God says. I'm just going to tell you that's what God said. God said it's in there. It's good. We understand it. We're all on the same page. It's good. You understand it's in there, I understand it's in there, well, we're all good. That's the grace of God. And it was immediately that Simon Peter was made, at this point now, fisherman is something he no longer is considered. His identity has changed from being a fisherman, and now it is a minister of the gospel. He was an apostle. And isn't that amazing that he was there when the church exploded? 3,000 people, 2,000 people added to the church the first day. Do you remember that moment? Now think about that in Acts. If you go back and look at that, do you remember the moment when Jesus spoke to him and said, cast your nets down to the deep, and I will make it. And it was that same day, probably in the same hour, that he said, I'm going to make you fishermen. And Jesus was, because he was always about signs and wonders. I'm feeling a little bit of Holy Spirit come on me now. It was about signs and wonders. And the sign was that Jesus told him that, and he already had shown him the grace of God showed up in Peter's life. The grace was there, the assignment, the call was there, and Jesus, by Simon's faith, took Jesus at his word and did exactly what Jesus did. The supernatural showed up because the fish were down deep. And Jesus spoke to the fish, basically, and by saying that, he inadvertently was saying, fish, come this way, you need to come here. And they came. It all worked together. And guess what? God got all the glory for the whole thing. But that's the way we can work. Now you're going to say, how does that relate in today's, what I'm saying is this. If you can take anything from this little message, I will say this. If you take God at his word, okay, God will do exactly what he told you he would do. Not what he told the minister, not what he told the prophet, not what he told whatever. He told you, if you follow what I say, I will make you a fisherman. That's what he told you too. And God said the supernatural has shown up. That you are a representation of the supernatural.